Biz Nasty says the Leafs will win the Cup. He came on this show and admitted he's a closet Leaf fan. So I think when you are making projections for the team that you are a fan of, you're a little cloudy.
Just because the lack of recent playoff success, everybody's kind of nervous to make a prediction and put that weight behind the Leafs.
This is the
The best thing and the worst thing happened today. She moved on with another guy, got engaged. And
I am the Rod Pedersen Show intern here, Rachel Bishop, and you are about to see my exclusive interview with CBC Olympics host Scott Russell. In the interview, we talked all about his journey, how we got to this point in his career, and what he thinks where he thinks Olympics go from here in this COVID era. Stay tuned. How did you get from CBC Radio Charlottetown, growing up in Oshawa, to where you are now, like the face of the Olympics in Canada?
I'll tell you what, it's been a bit of a journey, hasn't it? I went to CBC after graduating from the University of Western Ontario. I had a master's degree in journalism. When I went to CBC in Charlottetown, I originally covered the agricultural beat in Charlottetown for the local supper hour television show called Compass. And then what happened was Diana McDonald, who was one of the first female sportscasters in the country, was the sports anchor at CBC Charlottetown. And she left to go to TSN, and that opened up a spot at Charlottetown to be the sports anchor, which I readily went for. And I got that, covered everything from harness racing to local curling, to the lobster carnival. It was fantastic. And I went from there. And what happened was I got my first network assignment at CBC to cover the Canada Winter Games in 1987 in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. And I went there to cover alpine skiing and cross-country skiing. And the Canada Games was always sort of like the training ground for CBC Network Sports. And if you proved yourself there, there was a chance you might get on with the network. And so I had a great experience in Cape Breton. And soon after that, I moved to Montreal, became the weekend sports anchor there. And that's where I started covering Hockey Night in Canada. And I was there for 5 years and then got the job at the network full time in 1992.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
That's crazy. So you've been working at CBC since before I was even alive. That's really cool.
Yeah.
What's kind of the differences between all those jobs and, being the in-studio host now? What would you say are the biggest challenges in terms of the adjustments, or the biggest differences that you noticed?
Well, being the sideline reporter at the CFL, rinkside reporter at Hockey Night in Canada, and I went on to host the Western shows on Hockey Night in Canada. It was a great proving ground to do the job that I'm doing now, which is the studio host at the Olympic Games. And the reason for that is being on site at the field of play is a huge learning experience, and to have contact with the players and all of the athletes who compete for Canada, because I covered world championships as well, and I was at Lake Louise and called the alpine skiing there. being on site for a big athletic event, whether it's professional or high performance, amateur, is a great learning experience because you find out how to relate to the athletes, and you actually get the story and the lay of the land by being there. And so you can translate that when you become a studio host. You actually have credibility because you've been in the field and know what happens close to the field of play. It was a tremendous experience.
More from Scott coming up in a minute. We're going to take a quick break, though. There'll be more when you come back.
Hello, I'm Sean McNall, owner of TG Marketing. We are a promotional product company located in Regina, Saskatchewan. Originally founded by Tom G. McNall in 1985, we are now in our 35th year of business. My brother Ryan and I, along with our great staff, have carried the torch since Tom retired in 2011. For those of you who don't know what we do, we sell items with a company's logo on it, like clothing,
The Olympics, where the baseball diamond was all decorated with bunting and torch-bearing runners arrived by the war canoe at the beach and lit the cauldron, which was atop the baseball diamond, and the entire camp was divided into country teams. We built embassies, and there was an opening and closing ceremony, and it's a real. It is a spectacle. Mm-hmm. That's what I love about the Olympics. It's a spectacle. It's the greatest recurring spectacle on the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. And there is no event on the earth that is as ambitious as the Olympics and aspires to be all things to all people. And I love it because it's much more than a sporting event. It's an event which is about humanity.
The camp I went to in Muskoka did something similar. It was just with two teams, but it was like lumbermen and voyageurs. It was a similar idea. Yeah, it was really fun. We had like cheers. We had opening campfire, closing campfire. We had leaders as well. Yeah, it was really, really fun.
Yeah, well, I went to a camp called Kilku Camp in Halliburton, and the Olympics had been going on at Kilkoo since 1932.
Oh, wow.
And they divided the camp into 5 teams, and it was England and Canada and the United States and Russia, and before that it was South Africa and New Zealand. It was pretty cool, and to hear our director say those famous words of de Coubertin when he said the Olympics are more than about victory; they're about the struggle and the taking part. It was hugely important as I kind of evolved into what I've become today as the Olympic host.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the RP Show pre-show. Once again, I'm Rachel Bishop. Stay tuned. Main events coming up next.
No! Biz Nasty says the Leafs will win the Cup.
How about that?
Can I just say that he's a Leaf fan? He came on the show and admitted he's a closet Leaf fan. So I think when you are making projections for the team that you are a fan of, you're a little clouded.
Just because the lack of recent playoff success, everybody's kind of nervous to make a prediction and put that weight behind the Leafs.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh boy, is it ever. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Hump Day. Welcome to your favorite. Where's my bell?
Where is your bell?
Your favorite daytime sports talk show and Canada's only daytime sports talk show. We had a few bumps. The boys, something was going on with the Millennium Falcon back here, right? Had a few hiccups.
Yeah, but
they
fixed ground in time.
Oh, I know, they're the best pit crew in the business. But I'm just delayed tweeting here, and away we go. I was settling in mentally into what I was going to say, and now I forgot. But I think we'll manage. We'll get through. It's going to be a great day. It's episode number 492 of Canada's daytime sports talk show, coming to you from the bunker out here in Western Canada. I'm wearing new gear today, as you can see, from the Spruce Grove Saints, a golf shirt that they sent me, one of the ones that they sent me yesterday. As I said, if you want to know the weight of my heart, it's not through my stomach. It's hockey teams send me golf shirts, and I'll wear them.
Yeah.
And I'm all over it. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Actually, I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
So these two guests that we got on the program today, God willing, because the boys said there's a bit of an audio issue back there, but they'll get it figured out. Where do I start? Theo Fleury is going to be with us in hour 2. He won't mind me saying he was in the Recovery Coach Academy with me last week. So we were texting back and forth through the whole thing, and we were talking about, and I want to bring it up today. Theo said the world is so screwed up, it's never coming back. Weren't you and I talking about this? Yeah, we were, over coffee afterwards. And I said, no, Theo, you can't think that way. Yeah, it's screwed up, but the pendulum swung just so far, and it's going to start coming back. He's like, nope, it's done, it's gone. And he goes, and you can't say anything anymore, or you get canceled. And for instance, the last time I was on your show, I ripped Trudeau, and you've never asked me to come back. I said, no, we'll get Clark on that. And then here he is today. I mean, we weren't canceling Theron Fleury because he hates Justin Trudeau. But that's what he thought. So we got to get Theo on today to talk a little Stanley Cup playoffs, talk whatever the heck comes up with Theo. Should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And then a great story is JT O'Sullivan, and he's coming up in a few moments' time. He's played for, I got to look it up here. Like I said, I'm a little behind. I think it was 11 NFL teams JT O'Sullivan was a quarterback for, and then he came to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and I told in 2012, and I told you fellas this story last week, that after the 2012 West semifinal, which the Saskatchewan Roughriders lost in Calgary, you all remember the Drew Tate to Romby Bryant bomb to win the game. I remember sitting on the bus after the game, and you've been in those scenarios. Like you're just sitting on the bus, you're waiting to leave to go to the airport. And JT looked and he put his face in between the seats on the bus. He was sitting right in front of me. And he goes, Rod, I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again. And he'd already played for those 11 NFL teams. He was winding down his career. And he goes, I just want to tell you, man, I appreciate how much you grind. People don't see it, but I see it. You're a grinder. He goes, that impresses me. That was JT O'Sullivan.
That's cool.
And then he called it, I never saw him again. And that was almost 10 years ago. Yeah. But we've kind of linked up a little bit here since, and now he's running a quarterback school, and he does YouTube videos. He's got like 500,000 followers. YouTube subscribers.
Wow.
So I just said to Clark, let's bring JT on and talk a little ball and his time in the CFL and whatever. So that's going to be great.
That's going to be really cool.
That's coming up in hour 1. So we will give the shout-outs to people as we roll here. Don McNeil, I think you need to turn your TV off or shut your damn mouth. You seem to have a problem with Theo and Fleury, and he just said the only person keeping Fleury out of the Hall of Fame is Fleury. Oh, because of what he says about Trudeau? I don't know. I don't want to start a holy war. He's got a Hall of Fame career. Are we going to go down the John Chick Road? Are we going to go down the who's the bloody sock? Kurt Schilling Road? Is that what we're not going down that road? He had a Hall of Fame career. End of story. Let's go to the quick 6 show topics, please, before I get out. I started in a good mood. Don't come at my friends.
I was going to say, when you're walking up the stairs and
I was
doing
bouncing.
the story, it was just like, how did we get here?
Don't come at my friends. That's all I'll say. Unless you're friends with never mind. Lots of positivity in Edmonton. You saw that they met with the media yesterday, and I was encouraged with what was coming out of Connor McDavid's mouth and Neon Leon's mouth. Basically, that Rome wasn't built in a day. They're going the right direction. They believe in Dave Tippett and Ken Holland, and I liked what I was hearing out of Edmonton yesterday. And the fans are going nuts. And I know we shouldn't have even talked about the Oilers on the show yesterday, Darren, because it was still too raw. Right?
No, it really was. I mean, it was so fresh.
Should have just left it for a couple of days.
Maybe. Yeah.
Would be nice for Jumbo Joe to win a Stanley Cup. Clearly, you believe that.
I've been a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before Toronto.
Oldest Leaf to score a point in the Stanley Cup playoffs came last night in their win over Montreal. Mark Mathot is correct. The former Senators defenseman who said last night that the Toronto-Montreal series is a snoozer. It's just a snoozer. Can somebody run somebody? Can somebody stick somebody in the face? Like, this does not seem like a playoff series to me.
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. Unfortunately, it feels like regular season hockey. And I'm a Leaf fan who's invested in the games and tuned in. So it just doesn't have that appointment viewing, I've got to watch this glued to my TV kind of feel. It just seems like,
oh God, not even close.
Cruise control. We'll see what happens next round.
It's Montreal, Toronto. I said I'm only watching because of the jerseys. The hockey has not been that great. Point 4, Wayne's going to be great on TNT. It was officially announced yesterday he's leaving the Oilers to go to TNT with their NHL coverage.